Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode. We are the Hard Truth Guys. We tell it like it is. We don't pull no punches. Try to give you all the best information we can. You guys, do your research and come up with your own assessment. What do you guys want to talk about today?
Charlie, what do you think? Go ahead.
I think. Well, we were talking about that kid with the red face, red and black face. At the football game.
Why don't you tell us a story?
You know that the Deadspin was the newspaper or article. I forget whether or not it's a newspaper or article. But anyway, the guy's name that wrote this article about this kid at the football game. The guy's name happens to be
Karen.
Karen, exactly. His
It's
name
a
is Karen. But that's beside the point. We don't want to, judge Karens out there in
It's
the
probably
world.
spelled differently, but it sounds the same.
Yeah. But anywho, so he takes this picture of the kid sitting in the stands enjoying himself with his family, with his head turned to the side with some blackface on there.
No, I just got to stop you real quick there. Now, look, not all Karens are bad, okay?
Well, that's what I said. Not all Karens are bad. They're not all the same. Not knocking Karens.
All right.
I know your wife is Karen.
What?
That's what?
What?
Yeah, okay. Anywho, so they took this photo and they went ahead with it and started bashing this kid about the reason why he was wearing blackface. He had on a headdress. And apparently this kid's also part Cherokee. But when you see the other pictures that were taken at the ball game, he turned his head and looked straight ahead. Red, black. There's no blackface.
I guess
there.
it depends on which way he's facing.
Yeah. Well, they just try to spin the story around and make it seem what it's not. Why it's called Deadspin.
Would he have been
Isn't that
blackface?
gaslighting?
Yeah. Would he have been blackface and then redface, or would that be
Or
racist
hold
against
it.
blacks and Indians? Then
Would it be two-faced?
Yeah, it could be. You can look at it like that, Two-Face.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll bring some humor
yeah.
into this one. Yeah. Two-Face.
So they're shitting all over this kid now, and the kid's just trying to have a good time at the ball game.
Oh,
man.
I think they're suing them too. I'm
Oh,
pretty
good.
sure. That's the normal thing when shit happens in the world anymore.
Hey, you know what?
You gotta sue them to put them in their place.
That's
'cause
right.
You
Is it
can't say
getting out of
anything because
control?
they'll cry about it if you say something about them. So they gotta sue them.
Yeah, hey, it's the only way to hurt these people is hit them in the pocketbook.
Exactly. Take that money away from them Karens.
Go lawyers.
All right. We want to keep going with this one, or we have anything else you want to talk
There
about?
ain't much more to it. I mean, it's
Just getting out of control.
Yeah. Things are. People are looking at stuff and just writing about it without fully looking into the facts. What we had said, right? We check it all out before we talk about it.
Yep.
That's what this guy Karen should have done, but apparently he didn't do it, and he got screwed for it.
Well, that serves you right, because journalism is dead, and it's all about pushing the agenda, I guess.
The narrative.
Yeah. Yep.
It's all about the narrative.
So what did you see this week?
Well, it wasn't a UFO. All right,
No?
I'm still looking.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure I'm short enough I can fit in one of those graphs.
That's
but
another topic.
It hasn't happened yet.
That's
so.
another topic there. We talk about that for hours, man. The UFOs.
You know, what do you think about that whole thing? Do you think the human race is ready to know that there's actually
We already
aliens surrounding us?
Well, we already know that they're out there. It's just
okay,
that they're hiding it. They're hiding everything that they find out about it.
Well, the governments are.
Well, they're here. It's the lizard people.
It's the lizard people. I'm sure there's many different species, but from all the cover-ups since the beginning of time, from the Roswell incident on Blue Book, Majestic 12, the whole deal. What do you think would happen when the human race finds out, like for certain, like, yeah, we're here, that the alien race among us, and that we aren't the sole
We're not the top of the food
entities.
chain.
We're not at the top of the food chain. We're the we're not the sole entities on planet Earth anymore.
Well,
How do you think that will affect?
I will tell you one thing that'll happen. Religious people are going to take a shit. That'll be a major issue right there.
But you have to ask yourself, will they? Because if you look at alien beings per se, is there a higher being than them? Just because maybe they believe in God, or maybe there is God above them. So you'd have to say, well, is there something higher than that? How far does it go up?
Well,
as
no,
far as
I'm not.
belief.
I understand that. I know what you're saying about a higher entity, but I'm just saying as far as like just take Christianity,
or something like that.
Yeah.
Spit it out.
Spit it out. you have God, so, and that's the highest. So if aliens come along, then you run into this thing. Well, did God send a Jesus-like figure to the three-legged people on planet whatever? So that's what I'm saying about that. That just it always thought that how that would come about with religion and
Well, I think that's the farthest thing away from what people would be thinking. The first thing I think people would be thinking is, how many are there out there? How many? Where did they come from?
Well,
I don't know that necessarily we're just going to jump right to religion.
What would be some of the questions that we ask as humanity?
Right there.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, what is the purpose? Why are we here? What is the whole ball of wax on this? Are we really just some people say we're just an experiment, a human race that's been engineered genetically to get to where we are. All I know is you guys should be thankful that you guys have cell phones and stuff now, because that came about relatively quickly with all the technology. Reverse engineering, I don't know. Why don't you ask Bob Lazar? What do you think, Charlie?
Reverse engineering and stuff?
Well, they're saying that, with the crash of the Roswell incident, that the technology that we have in today's possession is really just a reverse engineering of what they had found from UFO crashes. And, of course, governments are covering it up. It's almost... It seems like anything that's built, it turns into a weapon at some point. So I would say that any of the UFO crashes, any technology, if you buy into it, that has been scavenged by the government, obviously has been reverse engineered to a certain degree.
I seen the other day, I haven't fully gotten all the facts and dug into it, so I don't want to talk too much about it, but I did see something, some automaker or somebody out there. I really shouldn't be talking about it because I really didn't dive into it.
Well, what's the worst that could happen?
But anyway, they showed a bullet going into the side of the vehicle, and you could see the metal just doing something totally different than what you've ever seen before.
Sure, they've seen that there are apparently materials that will rematerialize themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I haven't really dove into that. Maybe next week I'll look and have more about it. But that stuff's out there. I think it's out there. It's been out there for a while, and so people are now starting to figure out how to use it in our everyday life, and I think that's what we're going to see.
So the question is, do you think, since obviously we're kind of older, not older, that we've seen movies, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, we've seen E.T. Yeah, I know, but even V, everybody remembers that from back in the day. But is it a systematic release of information, sci-fi, that is to desensitize the population?
It could, because if it comes out, people would just be like, "Oh, I knew that," and then just move on to the next thing.
Yeah, but I think there's a lot more than I knew that. What else is there?
Oh, yeah,
I think that the government, what they've let out so far for us to be privileged to hear and see, there's a lot more that they're holding back on.
Mm-hmm.
And
But
that's what they keep talking about. There's a lot more.
But what would be the reason? Why does the government withhold? Obviously, they feel the American people, at least in America here, the American people are not ready to understand that there's an alien presence.
Who are they to think that? I mean, they're out there pissing our money away, left and right, throwing it all over the place. But who are they to say that we are ready or not?
How do you think it would?
We
change?
deserve to know because we put them up there to do the job.
Sure, no. I think it has to do with other governments. They want to keep any technology.
Is it a race? Is there different? Well, race. Is it a race to who has the best technology? Are there different races of aliens that have different motives for the human population? And behind the curtain, there's one race or one species of aliens that are for humans, pro-humans, and one that's against it. What would be, obviously we're just speculating. We're not going to know the true answers to what we ask, unless you're in higher up. And again, this is, I would say, the reason for compartmentalism within government agencies, black ops projects, what have you, is you never know what the left hand is doing one thing and the right hand's doing another, and they never know what each is doing. So nobody ever knows too much.
Yeah, and that's why you have to be wary about AI. AI has a lot to do with what's going on, and I think that with it being more in the forefront of what's happening in the world, the AI technology is pretty scary when you think about it, because it could go and decide on what to do, think for itself.
You decide that they don't like people, and then here we are, the Terminator.
Well, we do. We have the Terminator that we look at, and where, it's ultimately the demise of mankind. I always said, coming from electronics, automation, what I've been involved in life is what happens when you have robots starting to repair robots and coming up where they no longer need humans to move along and create themselves.
And I don't think something like that comes out of like a fear or anything like that. It's just robot think efficient. We're not efficient. So you got to delete the inefficiency.
Right. So
oh wait, what is that? Is that the Matrix?
But it's always trying to reach 100% efficiency, and lately we're not at.
Well, if you keep holding back the information, we're never going to be there.
I've seen this in warehouse where you have robots that are goods to person concepts, where literally you don't pay health insurance. You don't have to worry about paying these robots health insurance. You could turn the lights off. They operate in the dark. It's a 24-hour operation. Frankly, in the long run, it looks to be a lot cheaper.
Well, it's almost like if you hear out in California, I think it is, they have a food store that you can walk into.
Yeah,
and there's nobody that works there.
Nobody there.
You go in there and you get scanned in as you're walking in there from your keychain, and whatever you pick up out of the refrigerator, freezer section, whatever, put in your basket, it automatically gets charged to your account.
Yep.
As soon as you put it in your basket,
works in
and then you can walk right out. You walk out, and there ain't nobody.
That almost sounds like some of the big box stores we go into.
I was just going to say
that sounds like to another.
But there still is one person asking for your receipt at the door.
But
anyway,
we don't want to make it any names.
That sounds
no
like
names.
that sounds like
Walmart
Christmas shop.
I didn't hear nothing. All right. So anyway, the question is, you'll hear me talk a lot about ET and alien technology. It's definitely a subject that interests me greatly from back in the day when I was a kid.
Speaking of aliens, do you see all the people coming still across the damn
Well, different type of aliens, but yes,
they're
running across there.
No, they're not native to our country.
They're not really running that much. So you see them on top of the trains. They're busting them. They're training them in now. They're on top of the trains and they're bringing them in, and they're all men. They're all men. There's no families there.
They always talk about alien abductions and what they do to humans, and it turns out that
alien stuff again.
Yeah. Turns out, what happens if you're anal probed by an alien? Well, I guess it depends whether it was from another country or from space. I guess that's really.
Is there something you want to tell us, Dave?
Nothing I need to say. But, all right. So, what do you think? Anyway, we'll leave you as the viewers to kind of. We'd love to hear what you say, what you think. Ultimately, you heard me say this in our first episode. The introduction is it really just getting to a point where humans are not killing each other before we can make contact? It seems to some extent we're kind of the short bus of the universe. We're kind of like, who would really want to, with what humans do to each other, what other intelligent species would really want to associate with us? So I don't know. We're interested in hearing what your thoughts are on the matter. And if you know anything technologically wise that we don't, feel free to share it with us. All right.
Do share.
Do share.
Douche, what?
What?
Easy.
Sorry.
So as I was saying about the people, aliens coming across the border, there's just so many of them still pouring in, and everyone has to have their head on a swivel. I was listening the other day, which I don't know why I continue to do it. I just try to fill my mind with more news out there, but that talking head they got up in the White House, who comes out and doesn't talk and tell you anything. What's her name?
Oh, Jean-Luc Picard.
I think that's different, but yeah.
She'll come out there and ask a question, and she's.
Did you ever think what you need to do to be able to do that job? Do you think they're like, look, Are you a good liar?
Are you a good liar?
Can you
that's-
lie to the American
That's
people?
exactly what it
Can
is.
you lie
Phil.
with a straight face?
It's
Everything
with
that
a
comes-
straight face.
Everything that comes out of her mouth is a lie.
It,
Every single thing.
it's almost like she should join up with Santos.
And if
yeah,
she-
because
yeah,
I don't know. Those two make an awesome team.
Well, you can put Menendez right up in that place too as well.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't know. I would love to see like people's nose grow as they lie. It'd be phenomenal. Like I don't think either one of those individuals you mentioned would be able to get out of a room.
So here, I want to jump in real quick. You said something about having your head on a swivel. So here's something that I noticed, and this is something that kind of gets to me. So locally, we had our Christmas parade. I will not call it a holiday parade because it is a Christmas parade.
Yes.
So we had that last night. Went with my
What
wife.
about us Jewish people? It could be a holiday parade for us. How about a holiday Christmas parade?
You have a 25-foot Christmas tree.
Whatever. I put a menorah on the top of it, all right? Leave me alone.
Anyway,
So-
so this guy.
So I'm at the parade, and I'm noticing that more and more, because of everything that's going on, I'm not able to actually enjoy the parade. Every 2 or 3 minutes, I'm just scanning the crowd, and
Nervous, are you?
It's not nervous. It took me a while to realize it, but I'm like, I'm really not watching the parade. I'm watching the crowd.
Steve's real big on if you see something, say something.
Well, I mean, if you see
should.
something, go over and punch him in the face.
Well, that's just assault now, isn't it?
I mean,
But
I
if you're
really
stopping
couldn't-
something, it's
Yeah,
If you
I
see
mean,
something, say
you're-
something. Try not to commit a felony in the
I mean,
process.
I just realized that I wasn't really having as good a time as I have in the past because
Right.
you just never know with
You're on edge.
all these people coming across and all these terrorist things, and it just you never know.
How safe are we?
Didn't a couple years ago, didn't they have that guy who drove the SUV through the crowd of people at
Yeah,
the Christmas
absolutely.
parade?
Yeah.
But wait, what did Democrats blame it on? They blamed it on the Jeep. They
Did
said
they
a
really?
Jeep, yeah.
I
Oh,
do
yeah,
not-
yeah,
I
sure
do
did,
not
yeah.
remember that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I just
What mechanical malfunction?
Yeah, they didn't want to say that
Interesting.
who the guy
So
was,
now,
but
for the rest of this month into the new year, all
Yeah.
the holiday parties, parades, and stuff that's going to go on,
Yeah.
you got to be careful.
Yeah.
Especially, how many people do you think are going to go down to Times Square this year?
oh,
Well,
they'll
exactly.
be packed because people are stupid. I would never.
know.
Here's a
But
question.
still,
Here, right here.
Football
Here's
stadiums, concerts.
Yeah.
Who wants to be in large groups of people?
Yep.
Especially with everybody coming across the border. And they've already
Yep.
said, the White House, the government has said, yeah, we know there's terrorists coming
yeah,
across.
how many did they say were on the terrorist watch list? It was over 10,000. I don't know the exact number. I had to look it up, but I know that it was over 10,000 people that they know of that were on the terrorist watch list that came across. But yeah, so here, I'll pose one question to our viewers: how many people? Do you think people will still go to Times Square this year, knowing all of these things with the protests about Israel and Palestine, illegals, and are they going to do like California? Are they going to sweep the streets clean right before Times Square, or right before New Year's, so it looks nice and clean for everybody?
Ooh, a giant
Leave a comment. Let us know what you think.
It's a facade.
Yep, exactly. Yeah,
But-
definitely.
Why? Why let so many illegals run across the border? What is here's what my thought on the matter was. I think that you get so many illegals running across the border, you give them advantages that the normal Americans don't get. You give them ID, give them licenses, you allow them to vote, you give them access to programs, money, food, cell phones, what have you. You attach Democrat to it.
That's how
Obviously,
you
I'm a
vote.
Republican.
That's
You
how you
attach Democrat to it. They hope that the outcome is that these illegals will vote for Democrats, ultimately keeping them in power, eliminating the Republican side. And I really believe truly that the Democratic side of our country, or at least our government side, and I've actually met some some Democrats that you could actually have a decent conversation with, and
Sure.
you could hash out your points back and forth.
Not many.
But I have also seemed to, I have seen what seems to be an ultimate power grab by the Democrats to get to be ultimately in power. And once they're ultimately in power, I believe they will forget about all the people that help them.
Oh, well, they do that now. Black
Right.
people have been voting Democrat for the past 60 years, and they go into neighborhoods and they say what they want to say, and people are like, "Oh, right, that works good."
How
and
funny!
Then, and then they get left behind.
How funny is it that the head of the Black Lives Matter come out saying he's going to vote for Trump this year? Well,
Right.
I mean, really.
Oh, you can't
And
say that.
who else was it? Who else?
Hold
was
it, wait a
it?
minute. Head of Black Lives Matter, wasn't that? Didn't we hear something about houses being bought for $4 million?
No,
Oh,
that was
was
that?
Patrice Cullors.
Yeah,
I
that
believe was
was
her name.
where the money was abused.
Yeah, but it
and
was all the
ultimately-
money sent to them where the nobody, no blacks took they didn't get any of the money that was sent to that
nothing went to
organization.
Right.
any of these
Nothing.
communities.
Not to
nothing.
help at all.
No community, no
She-
schooling, no nothing
You know,
at all.
And she
They
paid,
kept
I
all that
think,
money.
her brother or her brother-in-law like $100,000 for security.
Yeah,
He
right.
was security, so it's all
Nepotism.
nepotism. Yep, exactly.
So, yeah, it's sad, isn't it, folks?
It is sad. You think
you don't even know what to say.
You think you're given to a good organization, like Black Lives Matter. Okay, they might have been a good organization to start with, but when you find out, when you pull away the onion peels and you find out what's going on behind the scenes, they're keeping all the money and spending it on themselves and their families and friends.
You know what I always
not
wanted to
helping
do?
anybody that they're supposed to help out.
I always wanted to set up a 501c3. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Nonprofit organization. I wanted to have people donate to our organization, the C3, the nonprofit. But I wanted to give a full accounting of where that money goes. Obviously, you need a certain amount of money to run a nonprofit.
Right.
Just because it's nonprofit doesn't mean there isn't.
Yeah, but not 95.
It just means you're
95
showing
cents
up.
out of every dollar are going in your pocket.
Going to somebody's pocket. So you do need a certain amount of money for operating costs. However, don't you feel that you would get more donations if you actually itemized where all this money went to and verified that this money was actually helping? That at any given point in time, anybody who's donated could log in and see where their money, almost a tracking of the money.
And looking at the books, and you can't do that.
You
now.
could no, you can't.
I
But
know.
open up the books and say, "Hey, Joe Smith, here's where your money went. You donated. You said you wanted your money to be earmarked to these charities or the list of charities that are provided. Here's where your money went, and ultimately, here's where it helped."
Anybody should be able to dial in, look at, go walk into, and be able to audit their books.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Anybody,
Sure.
especially if they're a nonprofit organization, should be able to at any time.
Absolutely.
But you can't do that. You can't. You can't do it.
You can't do it now,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So how do you know the charities you're donating to are legitimate? How do you know that, it's not 5 cents on your dollar that's actually going to help and the rest of it is going into somebody's pocket to make them rich?
It's hard. It's hard to tell, especially when you hear about, this is off topic at the moment real quick, especially when you hear about our own government that has failed, the military has failed their audit 6 times in a row.
Yeah,
Trillions
yep.
and trillions of dollars. They have no idea where it's at.
Where's
It's the
where's
same-
my money?
It's the same thing. Where's our money?
Hey,
Where-
but if I'm $5 short on my IRS,
Oh,
They're gonna come and get
don't
me.
worry, they'll figure it out.
Yeah,
So
there's another
here's the
topic.
question, though: when you're dealing with government money, there is a certain amount of money that needs to be earmarked towards Black Ops projects. There is money that needs to be spent that I understand all the money comes
Right.
from us and our taxes, but there are certain things that protect the security of our country, of America, and obviously we have enemies out there, and we will need to take some of that money to dedicate to protecting America, whatever technology that is, Black Ops projects, whatever you want to call it, so that you would not want to release to American people. You want to say, like back in the day, you want to say, hey, $43 billion went to the SR-71 Blackbird project. What's an SR-73 Black? That's the one that, you obviously can't say stuff like that.
You take any of those bills that they always bring up that are 700 something pages long that you only get 24 hours to read before they pass.
Oh, you mean you got to read it to pass it?
No, you gotta pass it so you can read
you
it.
got to pass it to read it.
Yeah, that's not how they say
Was
it.
that? Oh,
But
I heard
you should see
Nancy
the millions of
Pelosi
dollars
say
that are
that.
going into stupid stuff.
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
all
Well, the
pork
pork
programs.
barrel spending, they call it, the frivolous spending. Imagine if we could actually legitimately spend this money, save the money, spend the money. Imagine how much more efficient we could be as a country.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Yep.
but again, how much? It's all right. We'll just print more money. Don't worry about
Yes.
it. So.
Yeah. Print the money.
Yep.
Yeah.
The money.
Yeah.
The money.
Show me my money.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Hey, you know what? On that note, I think we covered a lot of good topics
covered
for today.
some of the
we
topics.
think-
and
we-
A little bit lighthearted from the first one, but hey, you know that's how we roll. Some days a little more serious, some
And,
days a little bit more good.
hey,
on the
we all hope
conversation.
you had a great Thanksgiving.
I
Ate
just
lots
had
of
mine.
turkey. And,
Speaking of Thanksgiving, I just had mine tonight.
did
I
you?
made that turkey I told you about.
Yeah, you
that
did,
Nice
yeah.
butterball.
That's
Came
awesome.
out juicy. It was like drooling though.
That's
That's a
awesome.
little too much.
Hey, listen to this guy.
Yeah,
over here.
yeah.
Anyway, I highly encourage you to deep fry a turkey. And don't do it in your garage and knock the pot of oil over, all right? Unless set your house on fire. Do it safely. Have like 19 fire extinguishers around. All right.
Does that sound like from experience?
You know something? I do my turkey on my counter in a nice tabletop deep fryer.
And he's
4
got
minutes a
Fire
pound.
Marshal Bill in the back
And
corner watching you.
exactly. And yes, I do keep fire extinguisher. I'm a volunteer firefighter, so yes, do it safely, and it comes out great.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So, hey, like I said, on that note, remember anything that we talked about today, anything you want to hear, hit that like button, subscribe, follow us on X. We're still having some issues with Rumble, but we're trying to get our stuff up there. We're going to be on the podcast.
and it's gonna get smoother as we go. It's
Yeah.
we're just 3 guys,
Yeah.
the hard
Exactly.
truth guys.
Exactly.
But it's going to take a little while to get rolling here and to find our groove and to where you're like, I want to watch this more than one time. And we encourage you, watch it more than one time.
Yes, please. Watch
Tell
us
your
more than
friends.
once. So you can find us on YouTube at The Hard Truth Guys. Rumble, it is The Hard Truth Guys. On X, it is The Hard Truth Guys. I think that's what we got all set up for now. So
And just remember, there's nothing like the hard truth.